um, I do like to ride my recumbent bike, and I can sit and I can watch the news in the morning. I can like after I eat lunch. One thing that somebody told me recently was if you can exercise or like go for a walk or something after you eat. And hi, Carol.
Hi.
And that is like the best time to exercise is like right after you eat. I mean, who knew that? So I can jump on. Your body apparently burns better right after you eat. I don't know. I haven't done any research on it. I just, somebody said that to me, and I haven't actually read anything about it. So, um, but who knows that if I can hop on my recumbent bike and ride for 10 minutes after I eat lunch, I can do that. And fortunately, working from home, I'm here most of the time and able to do that. And at my son's house, they live in a really great little subdivision that is very walkable with sidewalks and everything. And so, like, while I was there, I did a lot of walking. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about element 17. Just for the purpose of the recording, I'll just do my normal little hi. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lizabeth. If you're new here, we are going through the elements of Optavia's LifeBook, and we are on element 17. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up. It really does help me. It helps my channel. It helps the videos to show up for other people who are interested in losing weight, maintaining their weight loss, becoming healthier. And you can always leave comments in the comments box down below. Subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. So there we go. That's out of the way. And now we can get to the nitty gritty. So element 17, how do you become a perpetual motion machine? One of the things that while you are in the weight loss phase, and I know a lot of people still are in the weight loss phase, they ask that you limit your movement, especially for the first 3 weeks. And thereafter, you can start to gradually add in movement. But one thing that I found for myself, and I know other people have found this as well, that when I started to add in extra steps, and I even tried adding a small amount of steps, every time I did that, my body said no. And my weight loss would stall. So the entire time that I was on the 5 and 1, I did not add any movement to my daily life. But that is me. And that is not true for everybody. So I just want to make that clear. If you were an exerciser before you started with Optavia, you probably won't have an issue adding exercise of some sort into your plan.
I'm sending it to you.
But what you do need to make sure that you keep in mind is that the 5 and 1 program has you eating about 950 calories, which from my understanding is really the minimum number of calories that your body, your systems need in order to function. You have to have that number of calories so that you don't go into starvation. When you start adding movement in, then you're asking your body to burn more than you are taking in, well more than you are taking in. And that's sometimes where your body can say, I'm not going to burn anything because you're not giving me enough food. And so it starts to store those carbs and things as fat stores because it's protecting itself. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. That's kind of my basic understanding of how this all works. So with that said, just be very careful. And that's why why your coach may tell you if you're adding in exercise, you might have to add in some extra protein to provide your body with more nutrients. Personally, I'd rather take off the weight, get the weight off, and then work on the exercise, which is what I did. But everybody kind of has to find what works best for them. So I'm not telling you not to exercise, but do be aware of this is what your body might do. And your two options are to add protein or to back off on the movement. So you kind of have to figure what it is that you want that's going to work for you. So this element actually falls into the book post transition. So I don't know that this is definitely geared towards transition, but he does talk in here about now that you have reached a healthy weight, blah, blah, blah. And he goes on to talk about movement. So I believe this is really geared more towards people who are in transition / maintenance. But the concepts are really good regardless, because this chapter really deals more with, or this element deals really more with just getting yourself to move more. And trying to find ways to add movement into your day. And that is different than exercise, and he will cover that. So like I'm going to read parts of it like I usually do, and we'll stop occasionally to discuss some things. But at the very beginning, he says, it's estimated that we spend in excess of 3,000 minutes a week moving. Consider that if we move 300 minutes, that was 3,000 minutes. That was back 10,000 years ago. I'm not 10,000 years old, so I don't know if it really was talking about me, but somebody 10,000 years ago was spending 3,000 minutes a week moving. Now we're moving, if we move 300 minutes a week today, we're considered to be extremely active. Unfortunately, most of us are getting less than 150 minutes a week recommended to prevent a steady regression to poor health. So we're not getting nearly the amount of activity as our predecessors did. So in this and the next element, we will explore increasing your activity level with exercise as the ultimate, if not immediate, goal. And the best way to integrate movement into your life is by using a plan that's tailored to your current state of health, activity level, and weight, and progressing it to create strength, fitness, flexibility, and balance to last for the rest of your life. So you have to start where you are and take baby steps. And he says that several times in between this book and Habits of Health. Habits of Health section 2.9 is really the section that kind of goes along with this and really is verbatim, like pretty much everything that's in element 17 is in section 2.9. And there's also some extra stuff in section 2.9. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But the one thing, if I were to say the one thing that I got out of this element is is the awareness that I spend a lot of my day sitting, which is true, I do. And I have to find ways to increase my movement. I have to be very conscious about it. It's got to be something that I'm going to consciously increase on a daily basis. And I think for me, the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is to do exactly what I did with the 5-in-1, and that's make a plan and stick to that plan. And I'm going to have certain things that I'm going to do throughout the day, and I'm going to live up to that plan. If I have to post it on the refrigerator, and that includes, I'll go over the 5 or the 6 things that he has you work on later. And those are the things that I think need to get worked into a daily schedule. He does say when he wrote the first version of Habits of Health, he stated that even those that were exercising the standard 3 times a week, it was not enough activity to maintain that, much less optimize our health. And I think that's pretty amazing that exercise alone is not enough. Like if we think, oh, I just have to lose weight and then I just have to exercise, it's the you have to increase your movement all day long and above and beyond doing any kind of exercise. And that was actually very encouraging for me to read as somebody who is not an exercise fanatic, to know that, okay, I can get in a few bike rides during the week as long as I am working to increase my, and not sit on the couch all day. Like I, grab my computer in the morning and yeah, I mean, they're sitting at the couch, or I'll, sometimes I've stopped sitting at my desk because it's too back in the back of the house. And so I sit out here where it's a little brighter and more active. And I just need to put my computer at the island and stand at the island, or, find ways to still work, but not be sitting all the time. So that was just a big encouragement for you. He said to do some kind of like a sitting time calculator or whatever and figure that. I mean, I just know I sit all day. That's not a secret that I sit all the time. 86% of all Americans sit all day. That ranges from 9.3 hours on average to as high as 15 hours in some individuals. And so that's not unusual. And you think, well, I sit all day. I must be a couch potato. Well, no, you're just a normal American. We all sit all day. Not all of us, but that's very average for people to do it. So what can we do about that's the next question. And this is where he says, I'm a firm believer in the motto, you need to crawl before you can walk. And you need to take those baby steps, and getting you to move like you did when you were a kid. And so he says, we'll start by looking at the many little movements that make up your day and put them to work for us. So you don't have to necessarily add things in, but take the things that you're already doing and find ways to not do them more efficiently, but to do them actually less efficiently so that you have to do more work. Things like, instead of loading the dishwasher and unloading the dishwasher, wash the dishes by hand. Or he says in Habits of Health, he mentions doing things in a different way. So if you brush your teeth with one hand, switch to the other hand and brush with a different hand. It might make a big old mess, but you're engaging. That also not only engages your body differently, but it engages your brain differently, which is something that he talks about when we get over to Habits of Health. But I just thought that was really interesting, that if you can take the things that you normally do and find new ways to do them that require you to be more active. So for me, instead of sitting on the couch, I need to, set, instead of the Eat Wise timer to remind me to eat every 2.5 hours, I need a timer on my phone to remind me to get up every, once, for 20 minutes out of an hour, get up and stand and work standing for 20 minutes. And then I can sit for 40 minutes. And then I need to get up and I need to stand. Or when I'm taking a phone call, to get up and walk while I'm talking on the phone, because I don't need my computer while I'm doing that. I can stand and walk. So what are some things that you think you can do that you can add to your day to get you to move more? Anybody have thoughts?
Well, I do pulmonary function testing all day long.
Okay.
I normally sit at the computer right by the patient, but I don't have to. I could stand.
Yeah.
I could stand up more during the testing.
Okay.
And that would be a good idea.
It's a good challenge.
Yeah.
I'm walking around in my house while my fuelings are cooking.
Okay.
It's kind of like, oh, it's 5 minutes here or whatever, so it adds up.
Yeah, it does. Yep. Every little
I'm
bit.
gonna hate myself for
When I
saying
go
this.
somewhere, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
When I go somewhere, I park further away in the spots, like in the lot, just to get a couple extra steps in.
Yep. That's an excellent idea.
I sit at my desk all day, but when I answer the phone, I have to be sitting down and writing notes because I don't remember everything. My husband's always been on me. Why don't you walk up a flight of stairs, walk upstairs, every few, whatever, couple hours or whatever. And then every day, every week, it's going to get easier for you. And I'm just sitting here thinking, all them old tires that are coming off the cars, I could be going outside and lifting those up. That might help with this, but yeah. It's kind of right, like in the back of my head, like I should be doing it, but the exercise.
Yeah, I get it. I feel the same way. That's just how I feel about exercise. It's just a challenge.
I have a friend who got one of those desks that raises. You press a button and it will rise up. And then she bought a small treadmill, walking treadmill for underneath that desk. So that's what she does now. I walk my dog 3 times a day, so I've always been a walker, but I'm looking forward to the summer to swim more.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
for sure. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people that have those walking, it's called a walking desk.
Yeah.
That has the treadmill. I was like, that's really, I'm too uncoordinated. It would be a terrible hazard if I tried to do it. My husband wouldn't let me have it because I would be on the floor.
At the hospital.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I have an Apple phone, an Apple phone and Apple Watch, and it tells me it's time to stand. I have this something on there, some app that it tells you if you've been sitting too long, it's time to stand.
Oh, that's nice.
It
Do you listen
reminds
to it?
But
Do you listen to it?
sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
I have a Fitbit, and my old Fitbit used to vibrate if I hadn't moved in a while. This one doesn't do that. I probably can set it to do that, but I haven't played around with it to see if it will do that. But we'll see. Maybe I'll figure that out, because it would be nice to have that little reminder of it's time to get up and it's time to move. And that's, I think, that for me, the biggest thing is I get so stuck at work in conversations with people, because I chat with customers all day, and I get so stuck in doing that I forget. I mean, I'm not even paying attention to the time on the clock. So, all of a sudden it's dinner time and I'm, totally unaware that it's time for the workday to end, kind of thing. So I probably need some sort of a little alarm system to go off and remind me that it's time to get up and get moving. On page 333, it's a great page number. What's the difference between physical activity versus exercise? Physical activity happens anytime your body is in motion. So, sitting here waving my hand around, talking to you, that's physical activity. Exercise is planned movement that's more vigorous and leads to improvements in overall fitness. So physical activity, voluntary, involuntary, it's just your body moving, as opposed to planning exercise. And then what I like, that very last paragraph says, activity and exercise have different roles in our system. Introducing each of them correctly and in the right sequence is critical to maintaining your motivation and ability above the activation threshold. This will make your new energy plan a permanent habit of health. And just like, eating 6 times a day, every 2.5 hours, drinking all that water, those are habits of health that you develop while you are on the 5 and 1. Now this habit of movement and getting in both the physical activity and the exercise is kind of the next habit that you have to work on. And you have to work on it, like I said, with the same dedication and focus in order to develop this habit, just like you do for weight loss. So that's kind of what I pulled out of that. He goes on to talk about his eat and NEAT, and EAT is really exercise activity thermogenesis. It consists of planned physical activity, so that's the exercise. He covers that really more in the next element. This element focuses more on the NEAT, which is the non-exercise activities that are those voluntary and unconscious movements. And he says, as I sit here writing, for example, I'm consuming extra calories just tapping my foot. It's easy, and it happened naturally as a result of getting into the beat of a great song on my phone. NEAT is highly variable, ranging from about 15% of total TEE in very sedentary people to more than 50% in people who are highly active. So if you want to raise your TEE, if I'm reading between the lines correctly, that means you have to increase how much you're moving throughout the day and not just exercise. So hopefully you will read through all of this, because I'm not going to read everything here, but I do want to go through his the 6 S's of success, which are the 6 NEAT categories that we need to work on developing. And then I wanted to look at something in habits of health. Trying not to read the book to you, because you have it and you can read it yourself. But when I went through the 6 S's of success, and I will read this part first, and then I'll talk about what I came up with. The NEAT system helps you take control of your body's energy balance by harnessing the movements you make in the course of your daily activities. The way you move your body, for example, or the way you perform your everyday tasks at work and at home. To help you keep track of these motions, I've divided NEAT into 6 categories that represent the movements and postures that typically fill our days. Together, they serve as a training system to help you transform NEAT into an integral habit of health. So they are stance, standing, strolling stairs, samba, and switch. These 6 categories cover the full range of muscle energy expenditure in your everyday life outside of scheduled exercise that make up EAT. So it is a matter of tracking. I'm not going to track it because me, I'm not a journaler. But what I will do is I'll create some neat little something schedule that I can, just like I menu plan, I'm going to movement plan. And kind of make a plan throughout the day for each of these things. The first one is stance, and that really deals with posture. So when I'm sitting on the couch, this isn't my normal couch that I sit, but if I sit on the couch here and I want to just make sure that I'm sitting up tall for at least 30 minutes a day, I need to focus on how I'm sitting. So I'm not just slumped in the couch and focused on the computer, but I'm going to sit up and I'm going to make sure that I am holding myself up as much as I can. I'm tightening my core muscles. And if I can do that for like 10 minutes every couple of hours and just really focus on that, that's going to be increasing my movement in that area. Even if I'm not like actually moving, the act of holding myself up really tall and the act of like focusing on my posture and holding in my, tightening my core muscles, that's all part of movement, even though I'm not, flailing things around, if that makes sense. So that's the first thing that I really want to focus on, is because I think I have a tendency anyway to slouch, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to sit up tall. So that's the first thing. So whether you're standing or you're sitting, to be taking time throughout the day to kind of stop and go, all right, for the next 5 minutes or the next 10 minutes, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to focus on my posture. It's a good time also to focus on your breathing. That's always a really good thing to, especially if you're having a stressful day. It's just to take 10 minutes to sit and breathe and just be conscious of yourself for a little bit. So that's that one. The next one is standing. And this is a hard one for me. But he said, but we want to start small. And so he says, at first, just add 10 minutes of standing to your day. And the ultimate goal, is to add 2 hours of standing to your day. That's going to be really hard, but I think that, I know when I teach classes, and that's only 2 days a week, I can stand and teach those. I stood and taught classes for years when I was teaching in a classroom. So why do I have to sit just because I'm teaching on the computer? So that takes care of, 2 hours on Tuesday, an hour on Thursday. I can stand for that. But I can stand when I work. My island, you've all seen how tall my island is. My computer sits there. That's a really comfortable position to sit that on my computer on the island and work there. So my goal, and this is I'm holding myself accountable. So I'm telling you guys, I'm going to try 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes an hour. I'm going to get up and stand for 10 minutes and see if I can do that. So I'm going to have to set a timer to make myself do that. But if I'm working for 8 hours, that 10 minutes an hour is 80 minutes. So that's almost an hour and a half of standing. And if the goal is 2 hours, I'm pretty close to that. But I also wash dishes and cook. And, so I am also standing other times during the day. So that's number 2. Number 3 is strolling. So that's AKA walking. And the goal is 10,000 steps a day. I don't know that I get 10,000 walking, but I do count the steps that I get on my bike when I ride that. So as of now, I'm at 6,000. So I still have another 4,000. So, I'm going to hop on that before I go to bed and try to get to 10,000 before I go to bed tonight. Tuesdays are just crazy days, but I think that's another thing that I just have to make a conscious effort to do. And when I am at my son's house, that's pretty easy to get in a couple of walks while Taylor's down, or taking Taylor to the park, get lots of movement in there. So strolling, 10,000 steps. I'm working hard on being consistent at doing that. The next one is almost impossible for me to do because it's stairs, and I have 0 stairs in my house. Absolutely. We have a completely 0 entry home. We did that on purpose when we built the house, planning for the future. So literally there are no stairs in my house. I could go out to the RV and there are 3 steps up to the RV, and then there's 2 steps up to the bedroom. But that's not even a full flight of stairs. So it's next to impossible for me on a daily basis to be able to climb 10 flights per day. But I'm at my son's once or twice a week. They do have stairs, and I do climb the stairs. And
how far is it?
Anyway,
how far is it to your mailbox? Because you got quite the hill, don't you?
Oh yes, I do. It is about 1,000 feet from the door to the mailbox. So that would actually involve a walk too. So that would, be getting steps in. The only problem with that, which makes me uncomfortable, is it's gravel. And because it is so steep, I am okay going up the hill on the gravel. It's the going down that like I am terrified of my feet sliding out from underneath me. And
Well, you need to create a slide at the top so you can slide down and then you can walk up.
yeah, now we did just make some changes to the driveway. So it did have, like when you come from the street, it went down a hill and then it went around a corner to the left and then a tight corner to the right, and then it goes up the hill. But we took that corner out because it killed our RV, and we kind of made a new hill, so it's not quite as steep as it was, and it doesn't have the curve in it anymore. So I have not tried to walk it yet. I was kind of waiting for things to kind of pack down a little bit because we just did it a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, but that is it's quite the hill. Quite the hill. But it's great. We'll never flood where we are. Like the water, I mean, it would take an act of God for the water to rise high enough to reach our house from anywhere, because we are way up on the hill.
The hill on your driveway would scare me to death, even driving up and down it. It really would.
Well, it's not as bad as it was. Now that we've kind of fixed it, it's not as bad as it was. I have a friend who will park up at the top, and I have to go up and get her and bring her to the house because she won't drive my driveway. But for me, I'm so used to it. I mean, we've been here for 4 years. I'm so used to driving it that it doesn't bother me at all anymore. So, but it's a lot of fun. If you want a fun driveway, come visit me because it's a blast.
As long as there's no snow or ice on it.
Yeah, there's
up the hill.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is not right now. So, all right, the next one. This one's fun. This is the samba, which is more purposeful movement. So whether you put on music and you just move to the music, or you are physically dancing. I cannot dance to save my life. Unless you give me like a routine, because I was a cheerleader, so that I can do. But if you just like have a dance floor, I'm sorry. I'm a singer. I can sing and I can read music, but I have zero physical rhythm when it comes to that. I'm a big old klutz is what I am. But I can listen to music. I can tap my foot. I can move back and forth to music. And that's a very easy thing to do. 10 minutes, put music on for 10 minutes while you're making dinner or whatever, and add some movement in that way. The target is to have 90 minutes of music a day and an hour of dance a week. I'm not sure I'm going to get that part in, but I can definitely work at, let's play some music, let's get some music going while we're making dinner, or washing dishes, or doing something, and just get some movement in. So the next time I do a YouTube video and I'm cooking and I have music playing in the background, dancing, I'm just kidding. I would. But that's that one. And then the last one is switch, and that's the one that I was telling you about, where he recommends taking activities that you normally do one way and doing them differently. So it says to switch means doing things by hand instead of by machine. So that includes dishwashers, electric knives. Does anybody still use electric knives? I feel like those were like a thing of the 70s and nobody uses them anymore. Snow blowers, remote controls, which I don't know. Back in the day, you had a remote control, but you could still get up and change the channel on the TV. You can't do that anymore. So that tells how old this book is, right? My mom, this is a funny story. My mom had in their bedroom, this was back before remote controls anyway. My mom had the first remote control, and it was a broomstick that she kept on the side of the bed that she would use to turn the TV off at night. So that was the first remote control. Computers, and other automatic devices that steal your energy use account at an ever-growing pace. Your goal is to burn an extra 30 calories per day doing tasks by hand instead of using a machine. So what are some things that you do by hand, that you do by machine, that you could switch and do by hand? That's an interesting question, because we do live our lives quite a bit by machine.
I can brush my teeth with a regular old toothbrush instead of an
electric one.
electric one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You get a mortar and pestle and grind your own coffee beans instead of using a coffee grinder.
Thanks.
No.
It's going to take some thought to come up with
Yeah.
things like that.
I've got plenty, but I'm afraid to say it. I tell you, get on my hands and knees and clean the baseboards, or wash that floor, under those cabinets or whatever.
Yeah.
Instead of taking a broom or a mop or whatever. Why did I say that?
It's spring cleaning time, right? It's time to get the dust off of things that is accumulated during the winter time. And I know my upper shelves need some serious attention. So I'm going to definitely have to do that. That'll burn some calories. But he does say, if you feel that tracking the neat increase, the neat increase is too detailed for you, it's okay to make your life more active in a more impromptu fashion. I want you to have fun and get into perpetual motion. So, he's not saying you have to record everything, and I'm glad, because I just wouldn't do that. Like there are some people who are who like to do what I do and meal plan, right? So you plan ahead, you've got your meal plan and you're good. But then there are other people who prefer to write everything down as they eat it. And I'm having to do that now because of, tracking what I eat during the day. And it's harder for me to make a meal plan for the entire day when a lot of times what I eat every day is the same. So I haven't been so good at making meal plans. I'm learning how to track what I eat using an app. Maybe instead of tracking it on an app, I just need to write it out, and that's physical movement, right? So maybe I need to stop saying I'm not going to track my physical activity, and that's just going to be an activity that I'm going to add, is to write everything down. So maybe that's what I'll do that. But I am going to work on setting a timer to remember to get up and stand throughout the day. He says he sets a timer to get up every 20 minutes, to do 5 minutes of movement, maybe jumping jacks, burpees. I'm like, no. Or a trip to the kitchen for water. That I can do. But he does say, he wants us to have fun with it, enjoy it, and not, it really, if it's a drudgery, like anything else, then we're not going to do it, right? So you want to try to find, start slow, increase little bits at a time, increase a little bit each week. And, if you're only walking 6,000 steps a day right now, just set a goal to increase it by 500 for a week. And then the next week, try to increase it another 500. Or, like when you're trying to increase the amount that you stand during the week or during the day, just try to increase it by 10 minutes a day, for a week, and then try to add in another 5, and just like baby steps to gradually increase your time, so that you feel like you're accomplishing something. And those short little increments are a lot easier to handle. He does go back I was going to jump over to habits of health because he talks about how do we increase our total energy expenditure. So that TEE, those of you who are in maintenance or working through transition, that your TEE, did you know you can increase it? That you, so like right now, if I eat 1,400 calories a day consistently, I'll gain weight. And I don't want to live the rest of my life only eating 1,200 calories a day so that I can stay at this weight. I don't want to panic anytime that I, have a slice of pizza or something like that. So what I need to do, and this really was helpful for me, and I actually read this a couple of times, and really today was the first time it actually clicked to me, Lizabeth, you can actually increase that number by increasing your movement. And there are 3 areas that make up your TEE. And if you will increase movement in these 3 areas, then your body will burn more calories, which means you're increasing your TEE. If you did not read, I posted on the transition group today an article that I read about the weight set point. I know this is kind of off topic, but not really. I don't know if anybody read that article or saw that post.
I did.
But did you read it?
Yep.
It was really good. Talking about that it can take your body up to 6 years to acclimate to your new weight. And it's you want to get to the point where your body isn't trying to get back to 300 pounds. It's going to be happy where it is. And that was really encouraging to me to know that it's going to take some time, but there's an end in sight. And so that was a little bit of encouragement for me. So how do we increase our TE? First of all, your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, the baseline that your body has for the number of calories it needs when you are at rest. Basically, it says it measures, it's calculated at a point when the body is in a neutral resting state after a night of restful sleep in a temperate environment on an empty stomach. It's the point at which our organs are using the least amount of energy. And it says BMR offers us a wonderful opportunity to tap into a thermogenic energy source that burns energy 168 hours a week by ingeniously increasing the activity level and even the size of our organs to boost energy consumption. So one thing is it talks about temperate environment, and in the margin he says a healthy habit is lowering the room temperature to 68. Honestly, if my room temperature could be 65, I would be very happy. So but the cooler temperatures allow you to sleep better, and so that's one thing that you can do to kind of increase your sleep. I thought that was interesting, was to lower the temperature in the room. So the 2 organs that are open to the process of increasing to help us burn more is our muscles. And it says, right now we're talking about the energy your muscles use even when you're lying in bed in the morning dreaming about sleeping in. So the basal metabolic contribution from your muscles varies. And most of the variation, 75%, in fact, is based on how much lean body mass you have. So the more muscle you have, the more your body will burn when you are in a restful state. He goes on to explain that after the age of 20, this is scary, we begin to lose a pound of muscle a year. And what is that muscle replaced with? Fat. Right? And we don't want that. We don't want, and by the way, hi Sissy, I see you're out for a walk. And I just became friends with Sissy today, and I'm really excited to get to know her. She has been at her goal weight for 5 years.
Wow.
And that is incredibly impressive. It was so encouraging to me. And she and I are going to get together and chat on Zoom. And I'm really excited to get to know her because I think she's a pretty awesome person. What I have seen of her in our little conversation that we've had today. And you know, when you find people and you're just like, I like that person. So we're going to get to know each other. I'm really excited that she's here tonight. And so she's out for a walk. She's building that muscle. So you go, sissy. I'm excited. But we are going to make sure that we are building muscle because every pound of muscle we have consumes 50 to 70 calories a day. Fat, on the other hand, consumes much less than 10% of the energy that muscles use. So practically nothing, right? We want to make sure that we are building muscle and, do what you need to do to build, to increase muscle, whether that's increasing your movement, making sure that you're getting enough protein in your diet. And while I have not been a huge proponent of the EAAs, I will say that for people who, it is something that can help you with your muscle, like building muscle and retaining muscle and not losing muscle. So, that might be something you want to look at. It doesn't have to be the Optavia stuff. It can be anything. But even making sure that you're getting plenty of lean protein is one way that you can make sure that you're getting enough of those essential amino acids in your diet. Having weak, flabby muscles also plays a part in our downward spiral to non-sickness and disease. The good news is that this muscle deterioration is reversible. So we can increase our lean muscle mass, and a lot of that is going to happen through doing some specific exercise, which will be covered in the next element. So, as much as we don't want to exercise, we got to do it. If we want to increase our TEE so that we can have that slice of pizza once in a while. He does say, and this is always, the exercise thing is just kind of like, yes, I need to do it, but I don't need to obsess over it. And that's where I'm kind of coming to is the 3-day-a-week workout is inefficient for weight loss, but it's great for health. So what's wrong with intense muscle burning workouts? As long as you're in shape and can do them, nothing at all. They're just not very efficient at creating weight loss. And so it's a lot of weight loss programs tout intense workouts as an essential part of fitness. Unfortunately, this type of vigorous exercise leaves most overweight people discouraged and believing they just don't have what it takes to maintain a healthy weight. And I think if there's anything that I learned on the 5-in-1 part is that I didn't need the exercise then, but I'm learning that I need it now. So then was not the time. Now is the time. Now is the time to start building that lean muscle. And I say that as a person who was not an exerciser before. If you were always an exercise person, probably continuing to exercise while you're losing weight is a great thing for you. I was not that person. And so adding it for me, as I told you, was not a good thing for me, but I am doing it now. Like I do get on my bike. So I am doing that. And I'm preparing for going to the beach with my other bike. And we're going to do lots of bike rides and I'm going to be really sore. I already know that. The next one, besides our muscles, increasing our brain. Our brain accounts for about 25% of our BMR. That's pretty cool that our brains are burning calories for us. The amount of energy consumption decreases with age as our brain atrophies, just like our muscles. To prevent this, we need to do some active intervention. And this is where he said, even changing the way you do simple everyday tasks or activities, brushing your teeth with the opposite hand, for example, or driving home using a different route stimulates the brain and actually increases your metabolic rate. So trying not to do things out of habit the same way all the time, but try to find some new ways to do things can increase your brain activity. And that's really good for maintaining brain health as well. he talks about tapping into music and motion, so that kind of plays into the whole samba thing as well. And you can actually increase the size, capacity, and metabolic function of your brain and muscles even when you're resting. You'll learn how to give your body a workout in the next few parts, and then in the longevity section, we'll increase your muscle and brain gym time once you are optimally healthy. So that is coming down the road as well. The next thing he talks about is your physical activity level. So your BMR, your kind of basic, your basal metabolic rate, and then increasing your physical activity through eat and neat. And we've talked about that a few times. And then the last one is the thermic effect of food. And that is the same habits that we've worked on from the very beginning, eating every 2 to 3 hours. It says, while further documentation is needed, this great habit of health may actually contribute to an increased TEE by causing your body to start up its metabolic machinery more often. So not necessarily a lot of proven health studies out there, but there are studies that say it may contribute to that. Choosing lean protein. The leaner your protein is, the less fat your body has to work with. It takes more energy to burn protein than it does to burn carbohydrates and fat. So we want to, and that's why a lot of times when you're trying to build muscle, you want to provide your body more protein. Drink cold water, switch to ice water, and up your TEE. Drinking just 1 8-ounce glass of ice water burns 9.25 more calories than drinking a glass of room temperature water. And then seek out naturally thermogenic foods. Several naturally occurring substances increase your energy expenditure, including caffeine, polyphenolic compounds found in green tea, and capsaicin found in red pepper, mustard, ginger, and cinnamon. Other substances with a thermic effect include selenium, chromium, alpha-lipoic acid, L-carnitine, L-tyrosine, and calcium carbonate. We'll discuss these types of substances in greater detail later in the book when you enter phase 3. But there are things that you can eat. Caffeine, yay, coffee, and capsaicin, so spicy foods are good for that as well. So yeah, let's get those spicy foods in. So that is element 17. I did a lot of talking. You guys did a lot of listening. Who has something that they can share about adding movement? Hi, Karen.
Hi. I got the times wrong.
That's all right. You can watch the recording, but you can hang out with us for the last little bit.
Okay.
Anybody have anything that struck them from the element? Things that they want to try? Questions? You're just a bunch of chatterboxes today. It was a small group, man. We've had some nights where we've had lots and lots of people. And it's just a few today. That's all right.
Hey there. I'm sorry. I was trying. You hear me?
I can, yes.
Oh, hi. It's nice to meet you finally.
You too.
No, I just wanted to throw in that I have not always been this active. When I first started playing, I was not an active person. But over the last 5 years, 5.5 years, because I started in September of 2018, and I lost 72 pounds in 6 months, and I've maintained since then. But I go by the way that my body feels, and my body feels much better when I move it, when I keep it moving. So, just when I was going through this element, over the years, actually, because I mean, even though it's been 5 years, it's still I have to keep a focus on it daily.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to go back to the way that I was.
Right.
And, you know, my highest weight was 260 and I'm now at 135. So I'm almost, you know, half my size. But when I started Optavia, I was at 213. So, you know, it's just, you know, the movement part. So I was doing the Zoom and I'm like, you know what? The sun's going down. I need to get in my walk. And I mean, it's just a 25-minute walk, but it's a 25-minute walk, you know?
Right.
So it's just making it an important part of your journey and just paying attention to how your body feels. But as you were, you know, when you were talking about, you know, the 6 S's, you know, even tapping your feet, that's burning calories, you know? So just paying attention to the little things that you can do will make a big difference.
Thank you for that. That's awesome.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. And we all have to start somewhere. I certainly, you know, didn't start doing what I do on a daily basis now. I wouldn't have been able to physically. I wouldn't have been able to. So, you know, progress is progress, one foot in front of the other.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, that's it. I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else have anything to add or share or ask?
I think having little dance parties with the grandkids or your kids, I do that. I act silly with them. Didn't so much with my kids as they were growing up, but the grandkids, who cares? Grams is silly and they enjoy it. They love the interaction. They love dancing.
Yep. Oh, she froze. All right, Becky, you froze. I'm not sure what happened, but her little. Now she's back. You froze for a second. So.
Yeah, I did. I think it was longer than a second. But anyways, yeah, I love to, not that I'm a good dancer, but I love to move and I love to get down with the music. So
Good.
Who cares what I look like?
Right, exactly. The kids just love you and they just want to play with you. So, yeah. Anybody else have anything? Questions or? All right, well, I did record this. So those of you who came in at the tail end, just know I'll try tomorrow morning before I head over to my son's house to get it up on my YouTube channel. It takes a while for it to actually process on Zoom. It's like not ever ready immediately. And so I'll take care of it in the morning. It does upload really fast to YouTube when I do upload it. So that will hopefully be up tomorrow morning so that you can watch the program or the recording. All right. Anybody have anything? Chit chat? Questions?
Does anybody ever get annoyed with all the little reminders on the EatWise app for just that 2.5-hour reminder?
Yeah.
I get annoyed with it. So now you're talking about adding reminders for standing up and exercising 10 minutes an hour. And I'm thinking, I'm already getting annoyed with the reminders of eating.
Yeah.
Not sure how that's going to do for me. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure something else out, though, I think.
I used to record my water. I used the Drink Water app. And I don't do that anymore because I am so habitually drinking a gallon of water a day, or close to a gallon. I mean, this is a 40 ounce and I will drink 3 of these easily. Plus I always have 8 ounces when I take my probiotic in the morning. And I always have 8 ounces when I take my supplements at night. I know I'm getting more than a gallon of water a day. So I don't even bother recording that anymore. So that's one less reminder that I do have, that I don't have that one.
My reminders are just for the meals right now, but I do think by adding in the movement, that's going to be just another reminder.
Yeah. And what I might do is just put a sticky on my computer to remind me that way, instead of having an alarm on my phone, because I'm terrible at always having my phone with me too. So I might not, or, my phone gets tucked between couch cushions, and my husband calls me and I don't know that he's calling me, so. Yeah, so having a sticky note might be better. I'm a very visual person anyway, so if I put things on the refrigerator or on my computer, bathroom mirror, maybe when every time I go in the bathroom to pee, it'll be a reminder to do something, or something like that. So that's a good idea. Glad I thought of it. All right. Anything else? If not, we're going to call it a night. And element 18, that'll be a fun one. April the 2nd, which is good because the following week I'm going to be at the beach. So yeah, April 2nd, well, that's 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks to read through that one. And, hopefully nothing will come up that week, but it just seems like every week I say I'm going to do something and then it gets pushed off. But I can't push it off to the next week because the next week I'm not going to be here, and I'm not going to do a Zoom call at the beach because who knows what I'll be doing. But it won't be being on the computer. So.
Or you could be like Sissy out on your bike.
Right. Yeah.
Exercising.
I actually have a phone holder on my bike. So maybe I could, but no, I'm a klutz. No. You're trying to talk me into breaking my.
No, I'm not. I was just making a comment because I love what Sissy's doing.
Yeah. Wow.
Didn't mean that you had to. No, you take your vacation. Enjoy it.
I will. I'm looking forward to it. All right. So that is it. And I'm going to stop the recording.